my boat's had time to dry now. So what I've got are two solid surfaces at this point. This is the bottom, and the other side's the top. What I'm going to do now is go along, trim all my edges flush. There's a few spots here that kind of stick out and that would kind of impair the adhesion of the sides. But as you can see, this certainly doesn't weigh very much, and it's not going to get much heavier between now and the time to put the sides on it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, trim these sides out, and then of course cut the hole for my cockpit so I can have somewhere to sit. Because sitting on top would be a little bit tricky. So to put the sides on, it won't be that difficult. I think I can probably only do one at a time though because of the clamping requirements. I've got a line that I drew here down the center of my side piece. I'll simply line that up with the lines I've got here on the center of my stringers. We're going to just lay them down, line them up. You can see my joints where I had everything cut out fit quite nicely. Here I need to take one more layer out of my stringers. The stringers didn't want to bend quite like they should have. So I need to cut these out here and these out right there. We'll test fit this one more time here. Is probably have to turn this over on its side, I guess, because I probably can't get a good clamp if I'm not using gravity in my favor. Problem is, I don't exactly know how to do that just yet. Obviously, it has to be tilted like that. I'm not going to cut the opening for my cockpit until last because I want this whole side to be intact as I go to push down on it. Let me make one more set of reference marks for where my center is on the top here and on the bottom. Now the only critical thing here is that the bottom surface is flush with this. We definitely don't want this side to be twisted at all because then it won't match up and it'll leave a gap at one end or the other. Now I would love to tell you that everything is perfect up to this point, but it's not. The width of my side is just a tad short here up top. Obviously what's more important is that the bottom edge be the watertight one of the two. They're both going to be watertight, but it's much more important of course that this bottom edge be flush, more so than the top, because I'm going to go glue the top, and with the joint compound to hold everything together, won't be a problem up there. I would recommend, if you're a super stickler, to recut your sides. In this case, I'm not going to recut my sides because I don't have that much extra cardboard at the moment, and this is just my test boat anyway, so I'm going to go ahead. These are going to hold the boat level. There we go, that's nice and level. I'm going to go ahead and run my glue where it needs to be, and then I'm going to set a bunch of books just on top of this curve here. Now, fine-tuning, making sure this edge is perfectly flush. And we'll start to weigh her down. And there you have it. One side is clamped. It's got its initial glue in there. I'm obviously going to have to go back later and apply all my construction adhesive and stuff. But you can see there's actually, a decent bit of bending load applied to this. but it's holding up just fine. So I'm not worried about that at all. I'll let this dry, flip it over, and do the other side at lunch. Well, I've got something here that looks a bit like a boat. The next thing to do, of course, is to cut out the cockpit section. Okay. Now that I've got a rough cut, I can go back and do the trim very nicely here, which is what I intend to do now. I'm going to do it from the inside though. That way I can ride my blade on the wall that's there. And that's about it. I finally have a boat. What I've got to do next though, of course, is joint compound all my seams. That way I can essentially prevent leaks and make sure everything stays really nice and tight. Then I'm going to paint and varnish this sucker. I may just varnish it or just paint it. It only has to last 2 minutes. I don't plan on actually racing this boat. This is really just a test boat. But we'll see. If it survives and performs like I want to, then I will race this boat. The last thing to do, of course, is to put it on the scale. Now, my SolidWorks model said that this thing will weigh just under 8 pounds. Let's see if that's true. 6 pounds, 6 5/8 ounces. That's pretty light. Now, once, of course, I paint and varnish this, it will probably double in weight. But still, I'll be under 15 pounds, which is not a problem. That's going to be super lightweight and should be equally fast. Well, so the next step, of course, is all the caulking of the seams and then the varnishing. Stay tuned for that.